All right. Hi, I'm Brant Bishop, and this is my ARC 502 school design with my professors Natalie Florence Severy and Michael Underhill. And this is the image I chose for the Arizona Biodesign High School that I designed. Um, so just gonna start right away. So we started off doing some precedent analysis. So the precedent I chose, the site was the Edificio de Bachillerato. I butchered that. Oak House School in Barcelona. Um, it was just a small building on a small lot in the hilly part of Barcelona. So I did some solar studies, some circulation studies, and just saw how the space was used, how the lighting was allowed despite having a hilly surface and how everything went. So I looked at how the original site was, how they kind of carved out a space for it, built it up into the space, how the rooms were laid and how they were used inside the building. And I took all of this and used it as inspiration for my own building. So for my building, it was located in Arizona. So it's downtown Arizona on the corner of East Fillmore and North 4th Street downtown, which is located in the bio design corridor. Um, so there's plenty of transport options to get there. It's very close to the light rail, lots of bus stops. Um, but being in Phoenix, it's also has a lot of sunlight. So that was also something that I had to take a look at with all the analysis and the temperature. Um, so with all of these things in mind, I started to design my building. Also, the site has a very strange shape. It's kind of this triangle shape. So I wanted to figure out how I was going to fit that. So I started making some rough ideas. So first, just a simple L, two just simple rectangles. Simple, straightforward, really easy, but that's kind of boring, not very interesting. So I kind of separated it out and made it two L's with a sort of walkway across and then a walkway through the middle. And that was supposed to be so that way there was this central space, this outdoor space as well where people could congregate and not be like stuck inside all the time. But that felt kind of too separate, I guess. Just having people trying to travel between the buildings kind of made it all sort of a mess. So then I came up with maybe adding just a courtyard in the middle to that L. So I added this second floor sort of space that I decided I was going to be like a library or a kind of just a general multi-purpose space where people would congregate, as well as having this outdoor courtyard, which is kind now isolated from the main streets and provides people a space to kind of and it still is outdoors, I guess. Um, so here are just some of the site elevations, those designs, and then my analysis of all three of those designs and how I spoke about how I came to that final design, that sort of triangle courtyard in the middle. Um, then I had to sort of come out with a program, how I wanted to plan everything out. So sort of going from that same design that I saw with my president of the Edificio de Bachillerato, I kind of decided I wanted to sort of stack all the classrooms. So the classrooms in red are stacked, the lab spaces are stacked in blue, and then all the other sort of circulation spaces kind of are multi-purpose, multi-use spaces, multi-function spaces. So here's just the uh the site plan. Um, these big lab spaces and then these smaller classrooms around a central corridor, sort of multi-purpose, sort of cafe space, and then this large outdoor space that you can easily enter from the outside, but it also sort of isolates. So here's just the ground floor plan, second floor plan, again, just kind of mirroring the floor plan below. And then the roof plan, just a basic roof, not really sort of anything special going on there. Here's some sections of that. Again, this is the main classroom hallway, and then here's sort of cutting through that courtyard space. Here's the outdoor elevations. So here's this the west elevation, south elevation. Um, these are elevations that will get significant amount of sunlight, so that's why I wanted to look at these ones in particular. North elevation and east elevation. East elevation also getting a lot of sunlight. North elevation is just concrete face because there's not supposed to be too much sunlight. Also lab spaces, so not want to get too much sun contamination. Um, so then here was my structural design for the space. So for the structure, I wanted to go with a just a concrete reinforced with steel, just simple, just a slab for the main building, and then all these girders going up, even for this supporting this overhead walkway sort of space, and then just two small cores for stairwells, and then the vertical beams supporting at each sort of corner of that triangle. And then we have this because of Phoenix's hot climate and the just sheer amount of sunlight that they're going to get on these all the faces. So the classrooms had I wanted to clad them in sort of this vertical cladding that would protect all the windows, but also allow for some view in and out, and also make for sort of a varied facade instead of just a flat face. Um, Same with the south edge, have a similar facade, but a full window wall, curtain window wall, just with a facade to cover it up to keep it sort of not quite airy because the courtyard is more of the airy space, but also we wanted to still use natural sunlight. Um, so this is more in-depth description of that. So we wanted to have site shading and permeable surfaces in this courtyard space, which we wanted to do with either an Oculus sort of tarp covering the whole thing with just a small hole in the middle, sort of like a Mediterranean sort of space that stays cooler in the middle of the building, that courtyard space. And then we could have planting in the middle as well. And then we wanted maybe some rainwater collection on this roof. We thought about a green roof, but Phoenix is way too hot for that to make much sense. It's going to be way too water intensive. So it's better to just use that roof space to collect water in and of itself to water these plants in that courtyard. And then we wanted to do the obvious fenestration and solar shading that's very necessary in the with the amount of sunlight that Phoenix gets. Um, all the window basically all the walls are heavily windowed, so that required a lot of varied fenestration just to keep that shaded level while still letting in abundant sunlight. Here's just the ventilation system. Phoenix's climate is obviously again super hot, so we're gonna have to use a lot of mechanical systems more than passive systems to try and keep the building cool. It's gonna take a lot to keep, especially these large lab spaces cool, but that's why they don't have as many windows to keep them cooler, and they're on the north side. Whereas the classrooms and all that will get their main circulation through simple vents. Um, Here's what I'm thinking would look like a simple classroom. So in plan, the section showing that fenestration covering the windows, and then the east elevation also showing how those the sort of shading bars would protect from direct sunlight while still letting in enough light that it wouldn't require too much mechanical lighting sources. Here's a little bit more in depth with that, a little bit just how the classroom I expect to be organized on top of each other, these large hallways for people and sort of experiments and stuff to go back and forth through them. And then here's how I expect it to look like with the mechanical systems installed, sort of. Here's some isometrics from aerial isometrics looking at the site. Um, then we have some exterior perspectives of just looking at this would be main approach on the left, and then from the right would be across the street from the parking garage where most parking would have take place. And then here's just the main entrance sort of get together space, sort of multi-purpose space. And then here's what a classroom would look like. And that's what I expect for the bio high school or the Arizona Biodesign High School. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening.